Okay, hello, welcome to the weekly IPFS community sprint all hands. If you haven't added your agenda items to the agenda, please do so now. You'll find the link to the notes etherpad in the PM repo and an issue. Do we have a note taker and a moderator for next week? Who wants?
I'd be happy to moderate next week. I don't think I've moderated yet.
Great.
Emily, you're muted. Was that a note-taking request? Cool.
I can note.
Nice, great. So Richard's going to moderate next week and Emily's going to take notes. Do we still do roll calls? Time zone-based roll calls? Okay. Then
We'll do that once we have people who aren't immediate Protocol Labs employees, because right now there's not really anyone from outside of the organization.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Okay, first thing, changelog generation and commit messages. Frida.
What?
Or whoever added that to the agenda.
Frida, you flagged this to be on the agenda, so I added it to the agenda.
I did.
Just discussing the changelog messages conventions.
Are you sure that this is not an old message?
I
I cannot
possibly
remember writing this. I mean, I talked about this, but like months ago.
Okay, if there's nothing to discuss, then we can just skip to the next one.
Oh, okay. Well, I can
Is it
quickly
everybody?
make an announcement in the sense of.
Okay, yes.
I can
Awesome.
make a quick announcement. I'm sorry. I was not aware that it was on the agenda. So what happened is that we started using our new commit message convention. It is not fully enforced yet. It's more a thing of we're trying to use it and trying it out. And if you, for example, look at the latest JS IPFS release, you see an automatically generated changelog there as an example of how this looks like. So we're starting to use that across all the JS P2P and JS IPFS projects, and it's working out pretty fine for now. Still some things to improve, like checking this on PRs, but it's pretty sweet.
cool.
Sounds awesome.
I just realized the reason why you don't remember proposing is because David proposed it, not you. It was on a ticket you created, but David proposed it. David's not on here to lead it. His comment on the ticket, which is the last one on that ticket, asks, what do we need to do to finish this? So is there anything we can discuss on this call about what needs to happen in order to close out that ticket?
There's not much we need to discuss on this. What really is needed to finish this is getting the Git cop things and like deciding if we want to use Git cop across all our repos. There was some discussion around Git cop previously and how it can be seen as a little aggressive. Yes, Juan.
We're going to need a bot of some sort to do all that stuff. So whether it's GitHub or not, that can be bike shutted elsewhere. But we will need something to function as that.
Yes.
I don't think we can decide on that right now.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the biggest thing left to do. The rest is more cleanup and like things like and education. But the biggest thing left is a bot for this.
And is this a thing that we're wanting a convention that we're wanting all the projects to pick up once we've like ironed it out with JS IPFS?
Go on.
The reason it's less that we want it and more than we have to do it, it's about licensing. The main thing that GitHub does is check licensing headers are correct. And that's going to be really, really important as the project grows to make sure that all the code across all the repos is it has good hygiene. The problem is right now GitHub is a little aggressive and not very pleasant. So we're just discussing ways to make it nicer and better so that it's not a painful experience.
I actually, my question was more directed at using changelog commit message. Sorry, I just muted myself. Using conventions about commit message formats so that we can automatically generate change logs. Is that something that we're looking to do for all the projects, or?
So currently we're looking to do this for all JavaScript-based projects because we have the tooling there, and we're trying this out now. We're trying to do this everywhere. The bot thing is, as Juan said, we need the licensing issues on every project, and if we have a bot to do the licensing checking, we can also reuse that bot to do the commit message checking for other things, for the commit message convention, for example, in JavaScript based projects. I know there was some interest expressed from Go IPFS for doing something similar. But
yeah, definitely.
There's no concrete usage of this as of yet.
Yeah. So in Go IPFS, it's I'd love to have something that gets us at least a pre-filled skeleton of a changelog, and then I mean you're gonna go over it and edit it a bit anyhow to make it read nicer, or to group things by what kind of change they did. Yeah, but that would be a huge help because I've been writing the last couple of bigger changelogs, and what I'm doing is I get a list of all the pull requests and I go through all of them to find a good one-sentence summary of each. Yeah, so that'd be really useful. Hey, David.
Everyone.
Okay, great. Any more about changelog generation? Okay, great. Then let's go to the next agenda item, which is the second draft of the project management process document.
This is just an announcement. I did a take a look at the PR or the links that are there in the agenda for a completely rearranged manifestation of that PM document that should be a lot more readable and much closer to being able to be released. Look at the note on the PR, because that has links to all these tickets where we sort of teased out things like defining roles and defining backlog. If you think any of those tickets remain unresolved by this pull request, please say so, because otherwise when we merge this pull request, it will close those tickets. There are still some unresolved things like we haven't fully defined all the roles. One thing that occurred to me that we need to discuss that's not really a blocker for closing this PR or for finishing off the PM process is that it didn't have a definition for user or contributor or maintainer, which I was like, oh, this document reads in a really funny way for an open source project to not bother defining users or maintainers or contributors. So I went to add them and then realized that those are actually really important things to define well. And so I kind of just opened a ticket and was like, we'll deal with that later. But so kind of flagging that, because it also, especially with something like contributor, we want to make sure that our definition of contributor lines up with the way we're doing licensing, so that there's no ambiguity there. So I'm flagging that as something we can deal with, not right away. But other than that, please read it through. It should be very readable. And questions or comments about that, it's mainly an announcement. Cool. Thank you.
All good. Thanks. Want to take DEF CON 2?
So this was. So I know that Richard is working to prepare to have a post DevCon 2 blog post. So that's like a big redux of the experience of being at DevCon 2. I wanted to float the question of, since you guys are, a number of you are preparing demos and preparing presentations, one, let me know if you need help preparing your presentations, and because it's best to have your presentation done at least a week in advance and try running through it with an audience. But also, let's look at the possibility of turning those presentations into blog posts before the conference. So, one, who is presenting at DevCon?
think Richard had a technical point.
I did. Someone deleted a lot of my notes. It may have been me. Does anyone know why all of section 4, there were like 5 lines I wrote down there, is all gone now?
You should be able to undo on the Etherpad.
I couldn't.
I just moved those to the JFF. Saw that like, oh, David.
Okay, 2 points. Your connection.
No, saying David asked.
David, your connection is A, really bad, and B, this should be a log of the notes for this call, so you can copy it, but I think removing it is probably not good form.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll copy.
Sorry about that. Okay, Juan?
David, by the way, you probably, I think, want to type, and then we can probably read it, because you really aren't coming through super well. On DEF CON, the people that are demoing are me, Samly, David, and Jeremy will probably help in one of the other things. So the 4 of us will be demoing in some way. We have 3 talks. They have different subjects. We can send we have the abstracts out there. And right now we need to just define the demos exactly. So that's one of the things to do today or tomorrow, is to actually define exactly what the demos are going to be. I think the Orbit demo is pretty well set. I mean, there's still stuff moving, but I think it's probably the one that's most concrete. The other ones are a little bit less concrete at the moment, and we need to just make those very clear. So it would be great to figure out what those demos are exactly and make those blog posts ahead of time. That I think would be super useful.
All right, so I'll follow up with you, Juan, and Samuli, and who was the third one who's presenting?
David.
Okay. All right, I will follow up with each of you individually, see what you need help with.
Great. Is Nicola here?
I don't think so.
He is here in
He's
the
there
call.
and muted. He had he turned off his camera.
Yeah, not sure. My other login is also still visible, and that computer is definitely shut off.
Let me try and ping him. Is there any other points?
No, the last point is the IPLD refining call, and that's you and Nicola mentioned it there.
We also missed the very first note, number 3, or yeah, a quick note about adding things to the agenda. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, so yeah, the agenda is still wonky because you're missing item 4. But the adding things to the agenda, anyone can add things to the agenda for these calls. And if you want something to be on the agenda, just add it to the sprint ticket or add it directly into the Etherpad. So with that one that Frida was confused about, David had commented on a ticket, CCing me and Richard, saying we should discuss this on the sprint, and that's okay because we both are paying attention, but really just put the stuff right on the agenda. You don't need to go through someone else to get things on the agenda. And that's true for anyone in the community. You don't have to be a Protocol Labs person to put things on this agenda or to participate in this call. Anyone who's working on this code can join this call, put things on the agenda, participate in discussions.
Oh yes, we have another agenda item. Demos. Who wants to demo something? I've seen a couple of teasing screenshots showing Orbit and what's the stream thing called? Is it called Orbit too?
Samuli can't demo right now. He's having pretty bad expression as well. So he just typed that in the chat bar.
Oh, I see.
So I don't think, Juan?
I think Popso would be a really cool demo, but it's David and Jeremy who would be demoing this, and their connection is not amazing at the moment. So probably that demo will have to wait.
I hear PubSub is pretty cool.
Locally, maybe I can show it quickly. All right. So let's see. Gosh.
So Victor, yeah, the share screen button's at the bottom of the Zoom window.
Yeah. Let's see. Should be able to see my screen, huh? Yes. It's working?
Yep,
No.
yep, seeing it fine.
Yep. All right. So let's see. I have the daemon running here. Let's see. It's a 4.4 dev, so I can listen to messages. Right now it will be nothing there. See, and then should be able to just publish the same topic. There we go. Do have some errors currently, but it kind of works.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Victor. Stanley gives a big woo-hoo from the chat. Juan?
I have a small thing to show. I don't think I can demo the actual running code, but I can see if I can show something.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't know if this is quite gonna work.
By the way, the YouTube live stream is working amazingly. I have it running in parallel, muted, and works nicely.
I want to see if this works. Oh wow, this actually works. It's cool. So this is a really simple thing that I built yesterday. It's a way to wire up a bunch of different pipes with multi-adders. So this is part of the multi-formats effort. The basic idea is that you should be able to introspect different addresses. And so it has a couple different modes. So think of it like a netcat that's powered by multi-adders in different ways. So you can set it to listen on 2 addresses, and then you have other processes that connect to that. And then you just pipes them. You can dial from both of them to somewhere else. Or you can specify 2 things to dial to. Then you can forward, meaning you listen and then dial out to something else. Or you can proxy, where it receives the information in one and then like dials out to something else. The reason this is really useful is to be able to introspect a connection between 2 IPFS nodes and understand what's going on between them to see what's missing, what kind of packets are missing. This will also be really useful to connect and wire up nodes that don't speak the same transport to each other. So right now here it only shows TCP, but it could show UTP and so on as soon as those get added. And so like the idea is to be able to like have these like very simple pipe nodes that are just moving one transport into something else, and just like streaming the whole thing through. So this should be pretty simple to use. So if you are debugging the protocol, you should be able to use this.
Sounds good. Your pipe, my pipe, your pipe.
Yeah, exactly. Multi-adder pipe, but my pipe. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else want to show something?
I want to show something.
Hey, Nicholas here.
What's up? Sorry, I was like just listening for a bit, and
Okay.
now like full listening. I want to show something which is like something really trivial. I wonder if I can share the screen. Desktop. Sure. Okay. Hold on. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So I was writing the captain log for IPLD yesterday night, and I said, I wonder if I can automate the writing of the captain log. Or there are some issues that it could be automated if you have very nice labels for your GitHub issues. So for example, in IPLD, in the specs, we have an issue, a label which is called need spec. And so basically, if I filter the issues by the issues that have been edited last week, and that needs spec, then I can tell to the people what happened last week about things that need spec without me going and check for these little issues. So I wrote a little package that you have to write a bit of description of what type of output you want to get. So for example, I want to know what happened and it's still ongoing. So it's all the open issues from since last week in this repo, which don't have this label, and you can even prefix them with a nice emoji. And so for example, oh no, you now can see clear. Okay. So for example, if I want to generate the captain log for this week, I wrote a little demo script, and it's now getting the issues from GitHub, and it's printing out a nice and concise little summary of what happened in the previous week. I thought that was neat and nice, and hopefully it's gonna be useful for other people.
Yeah, it's great.
This is awesome, Nikolai.
I will disconnect now.
That's super cool. Would love to see it used in other repos.
Yeah.
Nicholas, since you're back, I think there was an agenda item that had your name on it.
Yeah. This is about finding a time for the IPLD meeting. I wasn't following too much how the PM now works. So I just announced yesterday, I would like to have a meeting, but apparently the time was locked already on Friday. So I'm fine for not having the meeting today, because unfortunately I cannot do it straight after the meetings. I can only do 1 hour and a half after the PubSub meeting, which means it could be really late for some of you. So since I want most of you in the meeting and possibly awake, it's perfectly fine to have this meeting, say, next week. There will be more content than this week. Or this week if someone can find some time, but I think it's easiest to go on Monday. Yeah.
I'm going to propose that just have the meeting today when you can have the meeting. And if other people can come to it, can participate, that's great. Otherwise, you can just bump out notes. And we can then carry on the next week with like the project on track scheduled.
Okay.
I think everyone is super busy with DevCon things, so I don't think meeting at another day this week is going to be easy. So certainly, I probably won't be able to make it.
Okay. Then let's do this. Go.
Nicola, I think as far as the people you actually pinged on that issue, the only people you can have the meeting with today would be Sebastian, because Dig can't make it and Juan can't make it. So I don't know, having a meeting by yourself would make sense.
I'll try to make it. So if you can, if you want to meet at an hour and a half after PubSub with Sebastian, I'll see if I can make it. I'm not 100% sure I can make it.
Okay. So I'm gonna have a chat with I think it's called Steven, but I don't know who's Sebastian.
Yeah,
so,
sorry. No, Steven.
Yeah, I'm gonna meet with Steven in 1 hour and a half regardless. So I think we're just gonna stream it, and if Juan can come, great.
If you want to throw that in, like the time in the sprint issue, that'd be cool. So see if anyone else can make it, then Juan can go there and look at it.
Perfect.
As far as the locking down of video stuff, all we're trying to do is basically say on Friday beforehand, this is what we're going to do for these calls. Doesn't mean we can't add calls afterwards. Totally happy to add calls afterwards. It's just we've been shuffling around way too much on the day of, so we're just trying to be like, let's not do that anymore and just say on Friday, hey, this is what Monday is going to look like as far as we know. Sweet.
Great, Victor.
Yeah, so I just came across a couple of days ago. I remember about the writable gateway kind of thing. And at that point, I made a demo that doesn't really work publicly yet. But as long as you set up the daemon to be writable, here, you should be able to just post arbitrary stuff. So this will just make a post request to the root URL with the file, which means we now have it added, which would make super cool demos if we would have the public gateway to be ready. It's just a quick thing.
Yeah. Like half a year ago, we had a discussion about the writable gateway, and it would be really awesome to have it. And back then we had 1 or 2 blockers, but I'm not sure these blockers are relevant anymore.
Yeah, there was some discussion on the right formats, I think.
Oh yeah, the discussion about the semantics of the gateway. Yeah. Let's check out how.
Yeah, I feel like this is like a temporary thing until we have IPFS running in the browser. Then it kind of doesn't matter if the gateway is writable or not.
Oh, it still should be writable, because the gateway is the main component of the upgrade path to to a proper IPFS world, and for that alone, it makes sense to have, because as we have JS IPFS running everywhere, it's not like you flip a switch and then suddenly it's deployed everywhere. You still need this huge long transitionary period. Let's check out what the blockers were, and okay. Okay, then I think the demos are over, and that was the last agenda item. Does anybody else have anything more to contribute? Great, then yes, Richard?
Yeah, so Dignified Choir and I are trying a new thing, as you may notice, with Zoom and streaming. So instead of having all the videos be in 30 minutes and then having them each like individual, for this week, I think we're just going to do one block to make it easier, if that's okay with everyone. And then you can go online and search through the times for the call you need. Dig, is that right?
Sorry, I need to unmute myself. So we will have a single Zoom call for all the calls because that makes it much easier. I have to set up things for every Zoom call again. But I will stop this stream now after this call and enter a new name and for the new live stream for the next session. And hopefully YouTube does the right thing and splits up the videos. But I don't know. So
watch the space. Thanks. On?
Just a quick note. It's a huge home stretch right now on the work towards DEFCON. We have a lot of really cool things that we're working on and we have plans. So if people can just refocus on those things and like put everything else that kind of like is more, upkeep and so on for longer term, kind of like on the back burner and prioritize the things that people like Samuel and David and Jeremy need for landing those things that they're trying to demo. That would be awesome. Simply because there's like a lot of things that we want to show and we're making it in time, but just there are a few things there that like people could use a lot of help with. So if Frito, Victor, Richard, Kuba, if you guys can help out in those things, would be super, super awesome.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that to attention. Okay, so I'm gonna call this meeting closed, and we'll convene again in 25 minutes for the Go IPFS call.
Is Jeremy here?
I'm not sure. I think he might be with David. Great. Cool.
See you in 25 minutes.
Super cool.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.